Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Today's sponsor is Audible. They're the leading provider of spoken audio and entertainment. Listen to an audiobook wherever and whenever you want. I do. For more information, to get your free trial, go to audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, audiblepodcast.com/LUTZ. You are listening to the FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1590 WPSL, and it's time for another Triple Lutz Report. This show is brought to you by Regal Gold. This show is brought to you by Regal Assets. If you're looking to buy gold and silver at very competitive prices, regalassets.com. Don't forget, if you want to get your IRA or old 401k account into precious metals, which is your best source of protection against future currency uncertainty and economic uncertainty around the world, go to regalassets.com and tell them Kerry sent you. So you know, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, that I love Mayor Nannie Bloomberg stories, because this is a guy, an elitist. I met him before he became mayor. He was just a regular guy, if a billionaire can be that. And he just knows better than you. He knows that you just can't figure out the best thing. Only the government can, especially him. And you know that it's getting bad, that all the pressure, the soda ban, the nicotine ban, the trans fat ban, the salt ban, the donating food to homeless shelter ban, all of that is starting to get to him, because he's at a party the other day at Madison Square Garden. They've got a private club, 1879 Club, and he runs into a guy by the name of Gene Friedman, who owns a large fleet of taxi cabs. And Nannie Bloomberg, his cadre of apparatchiks, knew the proper design for the taxi cab of the future. And they pretty much had a design competition. Nissan, which is owned partly by Renault, Japanese car manufacturer, they own Infinity. They won the competition to design the world's greatest taxi cab for New York City. So every single taxi will be based on that design. Windfall for Nissan, I guess. I don't know if that's a distinction to be the official New York City taxi cab. I mean, Bob Grant used to say, New York City cab drivers don't drive their cabs, they aim them. And I always thought that Abdul Hassan's taxi cab, the Assassin taxi cab company, was the franchise for the city. Dangerous drivers, very ignorant about New York City. You know, most of them are foreign born. That's fine, but at least take the time out to learn the turf. But they haven't bothered to do that. I remember one time I'm sitting in my car on 5th Avenue and 34th Street, and a taxi driver pulls up next to me, and he says, rolls down his window, he says, "Where's the Empire State Building?" And we are literally sitting right in front of it. And I point up and I say, "You see that big building right there? That's the Empire State Building." So in any event, the City Taxi and Limousine Commission passes this thing for the taxi of tomorrow, the taxi cab of the future, and they're going to force all the thousands of cabs on the road to convert to the new design. Friedman, along with a industry trade group, sues in court, saying you can't do that because the code says you got to allow for hybrid cabs, which this Nissan, incidentally, was not. And guess what? He wins in court. This is Bloomberg's second huge court loss in about a month and a half. He's not used to it. So Bloomberg comes up to the guy, and he's red-faced, and he's spitting mad, according to him. And he says, he turns to me and he said, "Come January 1st, when I am out of office, I'm going to destroy your effing industry." And Friedman says back, whoa, Mr. Mayor, calm down. Why can't I sit down with you and figure out something that works? And he gets back in his face and repeats the threat. And, Friedman's got a pretty good sizable fleet, 925 yellow cabs. That's big for New York City. And Friedman's speculating, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to spend $1 billion and get a whole fleet of black cars and just take people around New York for free? How is he going to get them? And this is the way Bloomberg is. This is the way all of these so-called progressives are. If they don't get their way, if they can't force you to do what they know is right, they lose it. And as he said, Bloomberg thinks that everyone should just blindly follow his decisions. And this guy, Friedman's a pretty decent guy. He said he met with Bloomberg back in 2006, and Bloomberg praised him for introducing hybrid vehicles in wheelchair-accessible taxis, which is a difficult thing to do in New York, on a wheelchair to get in and out of taxis. So I think the guy really is a good guy, wants to do the right thing. And the story's been documented. They've gone to the source, a witness who was there at the time, and this guy is just out of control. I think the worst thing you can do to somebody like Bloomberg is watch him become irrelevant. He's been out there funding anti-gun candidates, everything you can imagine, just to remain relevant. But once the year ends and the next mayor is elected, Bloomberg becomes irrelevant. And I think that's killing him more than anything else, is that he's not going to see his name in the headlines every day. He's not going to be taken seriously by anyone any longer, no matter how stupid the things are coming out of his mouth. And he's no longer going to become he's no longer going to stay Americans' nanny. He's no longer going to be America's nanny. And I think that's what's getting him more than anything else. So, Mayor Mike, we wish you the best. We can hardly wait for your term to end and for you to go into the dustbin of history. You've done a few good things, but you've gone overboard on everything else. So we bid you a fond and satisfying retirement, and we can hardly wait till you become former nanny Mayor Bloomberg. I want to welcome our new sponsor, Audible. I've been listening to audiobooks from them for over 5 years now. I am a huge Audible fan. In fact, I've bought multiple Platinum memberships. Platinum membership, you buy 25 audiobooks at a time. I just got done listening to the first 3 or 4 books of the Jack Reacher series, the one you probably saw, or maybe you didn't, in the theater, Tom Cruise movie. I mean, just a wonderful book, wonderful series, expertly narrated, and so many times I'm in the car, I get sick of listening to music or news or the radio. I just put my iPod on, plays the book, and makes that trip go by so quickly. To me, this is one of the great things of the information revolution of the internet, is that you can get over 100,000 books on your iPad or iPod or iPhone instantly. Another thing that they have is courses on Audible, the Modern Scholar series. And I've listened to lectures about World War I, Shakespeare, nanotechnology, detective novels. It's so enlightening. To me, Audible is a must-have killer app for the iPhone, the iPad, for my computer, wherever I am. I'm always downloading these books. Like I say, they're a sponsor, so check them out. They've got a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial membership. Just sign up at www.audiblepodcast.com/ Lutz, L-U-T-Z. Again, audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. Sign up today. Like I say, this to me is a dream sponsor. These are exactly the types of things that I like to pass on to you because I'm such a fanatical, over-the-top Audible user. 5-6 years I've been listening, hundreds of books. I used to think I was a well-read person, and it's a little strange when somebody asks you, did you read that book? And you have to say, well, somebody actually read it to me, but they actually did a better job than I could have, so I don't mind it. But my friend Sean Perger up in Vancouver, he listens to almost as many as I do, and he can't get enough. I know you're going to love this company, love their service. I do. So check them out. audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. And we are back. So talking about Obamacare, the nightmare this thing's going to be, the fact it's never really going to ever take place. I just don't see it. Well, here's another thing that you're going to laugh about. And headline in the Wall Street Journal, employers eye bare bones health plans under new law. And what does that mean? That instead of getting banged for a $2,000 per year worker penalty for not providing them with insurance, large employers have a loophole. Surprise. And that is simply that all they need to do under this law is give a certain minimum benefit package, which mostly is preventative health, checkups, things of that nature. And effectively, it costs them $40 to $100 a month, and they're allowed to do it. They don't have to provide hospitalization. They don't have to provide most health insurance. So the companies that don't drop their employees from their health insurance plans instead are going to be providing them these bare bones plans, and these plans are really worthless for the most part. Maybe they'll pay for their birth control. Maybe they'll pay for cleaning their teeth. Not much else. And you could argue that any health care is good health care, but in this case, it's really not accomplishing the goal. There's going to be millions of people covered by these policies, and these policies would never exist but for the fact of Obamacare and these ridiculous mandates and a whole plethora of medical services that you're supposed to be covered for. Yes, if you work for a small company and you have to buy your insurance on the health insurance exchange, then the policy will be required to have all that stuff. But if you work for a larger company in the food service industry, they don't have to give them to you. So effectively, this law becomes a huge drag on small businesses across America. Like I say, you want to figure out what a federal statute's going to do, just figure that it will do the opposite of its name, the opposite of what it's intended to do. This is the Affordable Care Act. You could call it the Affordable, or I should say Unaffordable Non-Care Act, because you won't be able to afford care, and even if you have insurance, you won't be able to get it. That's what this thing is going to do. This is what you have to look forward to, and it's yet another reason why this thing is just going to fall apart. The other thing that Obamacare requires, and the whole theory underpinning it, is that younger people will opt to buy health insurance. And look, the incentives for them doing this just aren't there. Yeah, they'll have to pay a $850 penalty for not being covered by health insurance, but they could be paying thousands of dollars for health insurance, and they don't need to, because if they get sick, they can automatically go out there and buy a policy for the same price as if they were well. So all incentives for them to get covered, other than an $850 penalty on their tax bill, have been removed. So what you will see is younger people, younger employees, workers who are healthy, dropping health insurance in droves by the millions. And once those healthy people are no longer in the system, and all the other healthy people aren't there either because they can buy their health insurance anytime they want it, the system will collapse, because you cannot have health insurance where the only people covered are unhealthy people, because if you don't have the healthy people mixed in there, then your risk pool is astronomical and you will not be able to afford coverage for those people. That is what's going to happen here. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe they're a bunch of idiots. Maybe it's intentional and they're a bunch of idiots. You can decide that. But just understand, Obamacare will implode before it's ever fully implemented. I'm pretty certain of that. You can be too. Don't forget, go to the Liberty Mastermind Symposium, June 28th, 29th in Dallas, Texas. Save $50 now. Go to libertymastermind.us, and we'll see you there. This is Kerry Lutz, been another Triple Lutz Report, signing off. This show was brought to you by Audible. When it comes to audiobooks, there's only one place to go. That's audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, audiblepodcast.com/LUTZ. Sign up today, get a free 1-month membership and a free audiobook. And send us an email. Let us know how you like that book.